حميد مجيد.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulil kareem. Welcome to Anhar. This episode brings you another important conversation on exercising your discretion not to be fooled. You may ask what this is about. This is about being cautious about the sloganeering and being taken in by the sloganeering and manipulation, be it market manipulation, be it political manipulation. So we should not let ourselves be manipulated to our disadvantage. Of course, manipulation is leading to disadvantage. So to dive into this, we'll be inviting Dr. Absar Yusuf, the founder of Endeavor, and Dr. Ibrahim Zakaria Musa. Welcome to you all. Thank you very much for coming and joining us. So this discussion of exercising discretion, not to be fooled, is about being on the right side of politics, being on the right side of society or history, I don't know. It may be all of it together. So what is it about? Dr. Absar, may I invite you to respond to this?
Yeah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. The topic is very broad, and I think as we discuss, we will come to highlight different aspects of human endeavor, working in whatever your daily lives, even how you are always constantly faced with this issue of having to, I have the responsibility to think critically, logically about any situation that we come in, whether it's I'm buying something from a shop or an advertisement I see on the TV, or a political campaigner coming and telling me to vote for him or her. All these things require my freedom to do what I feel is best. So manipulation is about somebody convince you otherwise than your own rational thought. So it's very important, but for this to be exercised well, we have to know a lot about human nature also. Because there is this thing about, if I want something, I would try to pander to your emotions, right? And that pandering means say the things you like, make you feel you like me. Now these are salesman ideas. Even advertisements have this, you buy this milk from cows that ate very fresh grass in New Zealand. And I say, oh yeah, this milk will be better than the other milk where the grass was not so green. I mean, these are ways that you can manipulate. And so I think in our whole life, we are constantly confronted with this issue. And for us to feel that sense of freedom, you could talk about our freedom that we got as a nation also. Can somebody else hoodwink us with their own jargon or their narratives? And then we tend to say, oh, that makes sense. But I'm not analyzing my own value, my own opinions and my own value system to match against what they're saying. So there is logic, but I may not really have to accept what they say because in my heart of hearts, I have another viewpoint. But I'm ashamed to say that, or I'm a little disturbed if I say that I might not fit in, for instance. So all these are issues that come in the context of manipulation. And so we have to be ready for that. That's the talk today, I think, for us to be feeling a sense of power, empowerment, because we have to not be taken for a ride.
So there is a whole lot of creating of hype around a particular cause, and then a lot of manipulation, emotional manipulation, and also, as Dr. Sattar said, pandering to the aspirations or pandering to the person be targeted. Islamically, is it not morally compromised? Is it not moral compromising if you just don't check the wrong, right and wrong, or good or bad side of it, and then just buying into that narrative when a narrative is pushed for you to accept it? That's what, especially at the time of perhaps electionary elections, campaigns.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. We as being Muslims, we are being guided by the most sacred sources of Islam through revelation. And when you are guided by a revelation, that is why if you open the Quran chapter 2, how the chapter 2 is started. Alif Lam Mim, ذَلِكَ الْكِتَابِ. This is the book, La Rayb Fihi. There is no doubt, very clear message. Now, when you hear the word La Rayb Fihi, there is no ambiguity, no misguiding, no any sort of uncertainty. It's very clear. La rayba fihi hudan lil muttaqin. It's a guidance for the pious, for the people who are leading a very pious life and who want to be cautious, if I may interpret it in this way. So from this we get the notion, as a Muslim, have to be a very particular when you are making any judgment. You have to be aware of what you say, aware of what you judge. Out of nowhere, we are not supposed to say anything or do anything without having any idea or knowledge. So there is a difference, a huge, clear demarcation that we draw a line between a person of well-informed, a person of an ignorant, who's an ignorant person. Now, if I ask you, you want to be a person well-informed, a well-informed person, or you want to remain all your life as an ignorant person? Definitely your answer will be that I don't want to be an ignorant person. Because as a human being, we have been placed in the highest position among all the creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why we have been given that highest post? If you compare any other creatures of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have all these material aspects, they have the emotional aspects, they have all other sort of wants and needs like we human beings. The most the area that differentiate, that makes a human being unique, a unique creature, is because of its awareness. If you are a totally an ignorant person, so once
is that what we call aql?
Aql and intellect. the intellect, the capacity of comprehending what is going around. If
So don't be unaware of what is happening around
yes,
you.
you have to be aware of what is happening around. Am I right? So if you being a Muslim, now if you ask, if I say that you are Muslim, of course we all said we are Muslims, but being a Muslim, first thing is that you have to be aware, a person who is well informed and well aware of what is going around.
Is
and
there,
what
any,
is saying
is,
there.
is there any Quranic injunction or Quranic advice or tradition from the prophetic traditions to ascertain what is right and who is right, and when you are dealing with a person? Because I'm asking this because people put up a righteous front to impress the people they are dealing with.
Exactly. This is what, in during the Prophet period, and even before that, since the time immemorial, people being misled and being manipulated and being oppressed and being under the authoritative hands, iron fists of some people because of their ignorance. That is why the Prophet, peace be upon him, the whole struggle, his whole struggle targeted to remove that ignorance out of the society and make them being informed and they are well aware of what is going around. That is why the first was when we were guided to confess the oneness of Allah. What Allah said, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. فَعْلَمْ, the first word, فَعْلَمْ. What is the meaning of فَعْلَمْ? Be knowledgeable, seek knowledge, be aware, and come out of this darkness of ignorance. Come to the light of Iman. This is the difference between Iman and ignorance. The age of ignorance and the light of Islam.
So basically, it's don't fool others and don't be fooled.
Yeah, if you are in the dark, obviously you are going to be fooled.
Yes. So.
Yeah.
So the question really remains, why are we ignorant? Why are we so easily fooled? Because we are ignorant.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you are knowledgeable, then the person who is trying to manipulate will have a harder time with you. And
if you are informed.
If you are informed, yeah, so more aware. So that's I think the main point here. Even in Islam, we have the word Iqra itself, the beginning of the whole revelation, is also about learning, reading, knowing. Now, how do we today in this world, this new modern era, why have we become less knowledgeable? I mean, do we agree? We were more knowledgeable in the past. Of course, knowledge has not spread that much in those, but the people who knew very deep. But now everybody goes to school, but they are only surface knowledge.
And there is so much of miseducation.
Yes, you could say miseducation. Yeah,
formalizing.
A lot of fake news also now with when you look at social media, we just want that few sound bites. We don't want to even read a paragraph. So that means our knowledge is very superficial.
Yeah, this is why we have to be constantly keeping on learning, and that is what we are doing through these media, televising these awareness programs and so on, and all these sort of awareness are being spreaded due to because we want to create that awareness among people.
And the psychology of seeing so much of advertisements and so much of so much of campaigns, marketing campaigns are also going on to entice people, to create a need in people, so that
Very
a
much.
demand is created to buy things that you don't need.
Exactly.
So this is going on. So the hype is louder than the truth. The truth may be subdued. Hype is so loud, but when we are informed, the hype is, we can discern it as noise or useless stuff. Then we will be able to see through all that mess. We will be able to see through and find the truth about goods, services, even political
Yes.
manipulation.
Yes, you can. Still, the fact remains that unless we become educated, I don't mean going and taking PhD, but aware. Awareness comes from being exposed to many different situations, reading many things, talking to people of different types of topics. So every moment in your life is an opportunity to learn, right? And the more you learn, the wiser you will become. And through that wisdom, you will see through the screen of deception. You will not be taken for a ride, as they say, with these kinds of jargon, or let's say a twist in a sentence, in an advert, for instance.
And your discretion will be able to detect what is
Absolutely.
a lie and
discretion
what is
is
a
about the
deception.
freedom that you have, or freedom or ability you have to make your own choice, no? And we have beings of choice. We have in our, I think our Islam is perfect in that we have the choice of making our own decisions. But how can we make those decisions and make it a reality if we are not aware? And that is why we have to talk a lot about education also. Are we in the modern day really being educated, or just banked information which we gurgle out in the exams? And so that part is so important. And I think from the time we come to this world, it's all about awareness. I met somebody the other day who told me about how he came to Mali when he was 12 years old, and he had to be in a house in the old days. I mean, old days meaning 1960s, 70s, misalaka. And you had to do all the housework. You had to go to the bazaar to do. You have to cut the fish that you get.
All the chores.
All the chores of a 12-year-old. Nowadays, 12-year-old won't be even close to the kitchen or doing, but somebody else will be helping out. Now, by doing that, he told me by the time he was 15, he was able to do everything that needed to be done to live by himself. That's about maturity, and that's about awareness and knowledge. Now, unless you know, but then you have to have a desire also to learn. Everything you see, you want to learn, but everybody is not that excited about learning. They like the easy life, perhaps. So that part has to be known. So when a politician comes to us, or a salesman comes to us, in a way politicians are also salesmen.
They're selling their agenda.
They're selling their agenda, yes. And so instead of asking, what are you going to do for us? They will say, what will you give me? The public person says, so what are you going to give me? Are you going to pay my bills for me? I have a lot of electricity bills or water bills, or I have my children's books and clothes, or I have a trip that I have to make because my daughter is sick. Are you going to give me that for the vote? Or are you going to say, actually, what are you going to do for me? Or what have you done to society for me to be ready with my vote for you?
What is your manifesto? How do I evaluate the manifesto, the feasibility of it?
No, manifesto is one thing, but the person who is coming to sell the manifesto has to be questioned. Have you done anything of this nature in the past? Tell me something about what you have done. Have you gone out of your way to help society? Have you gone beyond the call of your duty in your job that you did? So all these things will, but then the person who is, the public person must be aware that this is what we need to do. But that person doesn't even know that this is what he has to do. He thinks that this person is coming to give him some money. That's the level of ignorance in the politics also.
Think of coming back to the topic that we are discussing right now. Think of the losses and the damage that are being received from people living around us when we are being fooled, when we are not being aware of things. Just think of these scenarios and situations.
Right.
How many, the gravity of the losses and damages when we are being fooled.
And the gravity.
That is why, the wisdom comes. When you are a person of having a wisdom, a wise man, as a wise man, you will be always thinking of the consequences before anything occurs. Before anything occurs,
short-term and long-term consequences.
Long-term, short-term, mid-term, all damages, the consequences you will be always forecasting. Then you can realize the gravity and how dangerous it is to be fooled.
Dr. Zakaria, there is a very serious issue. As you said, the gravity is enormous. These are allegations. There is no proven case, and it is difficult to prove this, even in a court of law, I think. The allegation is the voter is selling themselves. The voter is selling themselves for pittance, yeah. So the problem is then they become sellouts, and they are called sellouts by the people who they elected. They are selling, you are a sellout, I paid for you, and you cannot complain, and you cannot pressure me to play a role that you expected of me, because I have paid for you. So kind of they are buying the vote. So this is absolving the elected person of his responsibility, not legally, but morally, rather, I don't know how I should say it.
Existentially.
Yeah, he is justifying denial of his service to his constituents, saying that I paid for you. So this is rather in a sorry state.
It's a contradiction.
When we come to the situation of voting, I wonder how many of us realize the sacredness of voting. What I mean,
the
is
duty of
that the nobility of voting. When you are voting, it means what? What is the meaning of voting? Let alone buying or selling votes. Think of voting means, simply it means that you are giving witness on behalf of all your fellow citizens. You are giving witness on behalf of all your fellow citizens that this person is right inside, according to my humble opinion. This is simply as it is when you are voting in favor of somebody or against somebody.
It's not a mere casting of
there
votes.
There's no issue of buying votes here, because this is a sort of witness in the name of your nation, in the name of your future, in the name of your generations that are coming after you.
Ibrahim, but if the voter does not know what you are saying, this basic assumption that you are saying...
This is the assumption. This is the reality.
That's the reality, but the person does not know. The person thinks this person is coming to give me some money.
And the long-term and short-term consequences are very, very very detrimental to the overall health of the environment, plus the credibility of the politicians themselves.
Yeah.
But I would say, I'm asking you,
Yeah.
I'm asking you, but it doesn't, I don't think we can blame the public for this, in the sense that we have brought something called democracy. And in democracy, you say we have to be involved in this. Participation is a big part of democracy. Now we participate by voting. But there is a thing about us being aware. If we are the bosses, so they say, of the people, by the people, for the people, then we must act like bosses, which means the boss must know what the servant is doing. And so how do you think we have done a good job in educating the public in these 20 years that we have gone? If you're talking about the politics of today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I'm saying, as if you are witnessing. Now, for example, you have witnessed a murder case, for example, and you are supposed to go and present yourself to the court, what you have witnessed, seen. Will you be willing to favor in favor of a person or against any person just because you have been bribed or been offered money?
So,
Just think of this kind of things. I don't see any difference between giving a witness in the court in the front of a judge, or in casting your vote during any given
Like if you had a
election.
jury, for instance.
Because vote simply means you are expressing your opinion on
Your
behalf
acceptance.
of you, on behalf of your family, on behalf of your all fellow citizens. So how come I don't think of buying this vote? For example, if I give you a vote, please if I give you money, if I bribe you, will you be giving votes in favor of me, even though I am not a capable person for that job? Said, of course, I am going to give you that vote for you. You are offering a bundle of money for that.
But the person does not know the consequences.
what are the possible consequences, by the way?
Yeah, the consequence. Okay, for him.
How does it undermine the buying of votes?
Yeah,
or paying
you
for
got
the
to
votes?
look at the political dimension versus the personal dimension. Now, when somebody comes to you to, ask for your help in being elected, you are asking for two things. Not two things, many things, but there are two ways mainly you would. An aware person will always think about the consequences to the nation, to the community, and to the future of this nation, for instance. But the other person, but another way of looking at it is, this is my chance to get some money. And if I don't get this, then I'll be considered a fool, for instance. When it rains, you have to collect water. That's the kind of thing that we have been used to. So if you don't get it, and everybody else get it, you say, my goodness, he would look at this as a righteous person. He will look at it as a fool. You didn't get what you were going to get. And so, again, I have to ask you, Ibrahim, where is the educational aspect of, in the political sense, of the public person, Rayitu Miha, as we say, about the consequences of your action? Is he only, you let him to feel that this is just a personal job? He's giving me some money and I get benefit by it. Or is it about the nation? Where is it happening?
Besides making aware of what is happening and what are the consequences and all sort of things, but there is an individual responsibility lies on everybody's shoulder. even if you think of a situation of this kind, which are being totally directly related to issues to the country itself, then we have to have a very high thinking of implementing it.
With that note, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We are discussing on the topic exercising discretion not to be fooled. Yeah, coming to this aspect of buying vote and selling vote, allegations, these are allegations. What are the long-term consequences of doing this? I mean, morally, they are compromising themselves. They are letting down themselves in terms of moral high ground.
Yeah, first of all, we have to think of this matter in a very broader perspective. Rather, it is not something related to an individual concern related to an individual life. It's voting in the affairs of for the affairs of we are saying or taking our stand for the betterment of the country. Now, if you think of voting from this perspective, I think we will never belittle the sacredness of expressing your voice for the favor of your country, because from long times the history tells us the most sacred entities are religion and your fatherland or homeland or your birthplace. So when it comes to decide in favor of your country through voting, through expressing your voice, do you think there will be a person who will just throw his voice or word, not thinking, I will never care, I won't care of my country, my homeland, my birthplace, I just want our worldly material gain. I will never think of what will happen after I express my voice. Definitely, it's a sane person, if he or she has a little concern towards his birthplace, homeland, his fatherland, which has been a very sacred entity throughout the ages. Right. No one will sell or be fooled when it comes something related or belongs to his nation.
It is anyway undermining the political or rather credibility of the political environment and the politicians themselves. When their hands are grubby, how can you expect them to do something clean and nice for you with sincerity when they are in charge of the public funds? So that's how the trust deficit comes into existence.
I couldn't agree with you more. But the point is, people are like that. And maybe that's why people join politics also nowadays. There's no statesmanship anymore. You know, in the old days, you say, he's a politician versus a statesman. Now that quality is no more, because politics have been always associated with wrongdoing, and deception and embezzlement and all
Where,
these
where
things.
is a social conscience? And nobody's condemning this, and nobody's. I mean, some research, social research carried out in the Maldives by foreign parties have shown this as there's truth in it, truth to it, this allegation. But across the political spectrum, you don't see anybody concerned, expressing their concern about vote buying or vote rigging, rather, undue influences being exerted through money, campaign, and by dirty means, lazy means.
Yeah, I think it's the natural process of modernization, and with modernization come materialism, and
That's the price we have to pay for being modern.
gains in materialistic, accumulation and all that, and so which is a very worldly phenomenon. And if you are sold to the worldly success, then obviously you don't think about the next stage of your life. No? And so with that comes the lack of morality also. Morality and worldly success is very difficult to maintain. Have you ever seen a rich person who is not arrogant or not proud or very kind and nice?
There are.
Very
Yeah,
humble.
no, there are.
There are.
But this desire to accumulate will always has to be shown to others also. For instance, a person may not just accumulate wealth in the bank, but the person will express his wealth in the form of buildings, cars, and all these things. And in that, there is an attitude of seclusion. You don't want to be seen. You like to be, by yourself. And when you go, let's say, you see the dark cars, for instance, also. These are psychological aspects. No, you don't want to walk on the street anyway, or you don't want to be in a fish market or someplace. So they're still the same person, but with this accumulation and wealth, you assume another personality. So that I think that's the thing that takes away. And once your moral compass is changed, and your moral what do you call the moral compass is changed, then it's very difficult to come back unless there is a major calamity.
Yeah, a couple of years back, I read a statement given by a former Secretary General of United Nations, Kofi Annan. He very rightly said, it is very surprising, in all good old days, when people want to make money, they go for business in good old days. But it is very surprising nowadays, when people want to make money, they come to politics and they try to struggle to hold a very higher position of the government.
Right.
So when I think of this statement in a very deep thinking, what I realize is that it is very true when we see what is happening all around in the political arena. Now, for example, if a person want to enter into into the parliament to gain a parliamentary seat from any given constituency, what he has to do is invest. He has to spend, say, about 2 million, 3 million, for example, 2 million or 3 million rupiah. And if he knows definitely that if he spends 2 or 3 million rupiah, he is going to win that seat. Once he won that seat, he is going to gain double profit out of what he has invested or what he has spent to gain that seat. Which means, now, if you invest 2 million rupiah in any given business, perhaps there is no guarantee that the return will be 100% profit within 5, 6 or 10 years time. You don't know. But if you invest 2 million or 3 million to gain a seat, I'm talking about money politics, gain a seat. If you invest 2 million, 3 million to gain a parliamentary seat, definitely it is 100% guarantee that you are going to get the profit, and you are going to recover your capital and in the double layers.
Making double 100% profit. The tragedy is there may be people who are not into such shady business of canvassing votes by sleazy means. But then their image also gets tarnished in the process, because everybody is painting everybody else with the same brush because of what they see, what they hear. So in a climate of venality. So coming to the accumulation of wealth, as you said, this misappropriation of wealth, especially public funds or by other means, is ultimately controlling the person. Money tends to control that person. So our sages are saying accumulation of wealth or being wealthy is good as long as control the money, but not the other way around. If the money starts controlling you, you become a slave of money, and your desires reach or go to such an extent that you go on overdrive with making money, then you tend to break the bounds and you fall into destruction, or you go astray rather. So these are the limits we should not cross, either in politics or business or in whatever we do. So when the moral high ground is lost, morality is lost, sense of right and wrong is lost, sense of shame is lost, then who are we? Where is the character? And where is the credibility, especially in a close-knit society like Maldives?
What you have described, it will end up as a pharaonic system. In pharaonic system, where Pharaoh happened to be the supreme leader, proclaiming himself as the highest supreme leader, and around him there is a political advisor called Haman, and there is a economic advisor called Qarun, and there are magicians roaming around to uphold and to promote his kingdom by fooling citizens. Now, if you try to bring this scenario to today's situation, we don't see any difference where there are people pump into the system to have a material gain later on without having any consideration towards the nation or the citizen.
Now this begs the question, is politics by nature dirty, or is there a facet to it which can remain clean? Because in our history, we have had politicians, political leaders. Look at our Islamic traditions, political leaders. Even as late as Ottoman Empire, look at what they did. When the Catholic Christians suffered a famine in Ireland, the Sultan was generous enough to dispatch a shipload of food to Ireland. And there was perhaps British intervention, and they could not reap all the benefits of it. So there is genuine sincerity in politics, or you can fake everything in politics.
No, I think it's a matter of how things have evolved. I think leaders were initially assigned to the positions of leadership to honestly deal with society. Now, before we had this monetization of in barter systems, right? Mostly. After the gold and all that, we never used gold or silver, but we used the cowrie shells, for instance. But that anybody can go to the Faro and get some shells. But the point is that I think with the from the change that we had from the barter system, where in every community you had different kinds of blacksmiths and fishermen and I don't know, farmers, and everybody produced something, and then we had to share. And with that sharing, the sense of community continued on. But when the common denominator became money, then once we had the money, then we felt we could live without the other person. And that great example is when we started selling raw fish to the trawlers. Before, we had to bring the fish home, cook it and dry it and all that, and finally bring it to Bodu store and sell it, not sell it, exchange it for food and all that, and take it to the islands. For instance, this is exactly what's happening. And then everybody, there may have been a community store, but still people lived sharing at that time. Now with this at the end of the day, the money in our pockets, selling the raw fish to the trawlers, now I could live without my parents also. I could go and live with my wife in another house and just be a selfish little unit. So the selfishness began and community life declined. So in that sense, I think money had something to do with that. But I think the bigger issue is also our distancing from our moral compass. Because as Ibrahim would say, that is what holds us to. That's the, you're holding onto the rope of Allah.
Yeah.
So if you let that go, then inevitably you will stray. And in that straying, you will meet a disaster. And that will happen. And even if you have success, it will be for this world.
Yeah.
So the other part is very important. Do we not look at the next world?
Yes.
Is the money
Absolutely.
Is the money that we accumulate mesmerizing us?
Is it be all and end all of Allah?
Exactly.
Yeah. Do they feel that that's the end of it? If I have this money in this world, then everything's finished. But
We are nearing the end of the episode, so what are the parting messages?
This is all about the success or failure of the leadership. See what our Prophet, peace be upon him, within a 10 years span of time, how he managed to take the whole
multi-ethnic society
into from the darkness to the light of Iman, and made a huge ummah right now following more than 2 billion followers within the 10 years period of time. So this is all about success. That is why Napoleon Bonaparte very rightly said, if you build an army of 100 lions and their leader is a dog, in any fight the lions will die like a dog. But if you build an army of 100 dogs and their leader is a lion, all dogs will fight as a lion. Therefore, it means if a clone moves, as the Turkish proverb says, if a clone moves into a palace, the clone doesn't become a king, but the palace may end up as a circus. So this is all about the success or failure of the political leaders. So they have to, work for the betterment of the country rather than to fatten their pockets.
So no amount of legal laws and quality of legal framework will determine the strength of political climate.
So
But rather,
ultimately, it's the honesty.
honesty and the
Honesty,
leadership.
yeah.
This was all
Well,
these
leadership will
efficacy.
become good if leaders are honest.
Yeah, honesty should be the best
Yeah,
policy.
yeah, that's true.
And the efficacy of these laws and the framework we have ultimately boils down to leadership. So with that note, thank you very much.
No.
Yeah. Time's up.
No, but I mean always, I like to finally address the issues of family, the school, and our regular daily environment. In these situations, I'm not going to talk about politics necessarily. Politics have dominated our discussion today. But every moment is a political decision, right? About power. How in a family also parents deal with the children, not deceptively, not lying, not telling them to do this and they don't do it. It has to be about honesty. It has to be about how you are going to make these children trust you. And if you go to school studying, it's about learning, not getting a grade by a teacher who is very, who likes you, and then you get a better passing mark. It's about honesty.
So
Ultimately, honesty. In a shop also, it's about honesty, where you get the goods for the money you paid, and not be fooled by the shopkeeper.
Yeah.
And for you, and for each of these situations, it's about having to learn and be aware. And
And
awareness will
absolutely.
liberate you.
That's how you build a reputation.
Yes.
That's the time for us to call it a day. Thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim Zakaria Musa, Dr. Abstar Yusuf. Thank you for tuning in. Assalamu alaikum.